What is up, ladies and gents, and welcome to another Payday 2 Reservoir Dogs Heist video. Today I'm going to be discussing why I believe the Reservoir Dogs Heist is the best piece of post-release content the game has ever seen. It seems strange writing this now, bearing in mind that there are still currently some crashing problems, especially on 1 down difficulty, but my time completing the heist completely unspoiled on Mayhem and Death Wish difficulties was like no other I've experienced in Payday 2. Maybe this was prompted by all the research I've been doing lately for my story mode video covering Lot's betrayal, but this heist had me gripped from start to finish in a style that carried Tarantino's storytelling so perfectly I've been left desperate for more. The way in which chronology was thrown out of the window and the days reversed was a move inspired by Tarantino that will have left everyone even vaguely aware of Payday's narrative thrilled and pretty confused. It created suspense in the Payday heist. For once, I wasn't fighting to complete the mission for the sake of rewards and the sheer thrill of it. I wanted to understand why the traitorous bastard Locke, whom I'd just written 3 pages of script bashing, was assisting me. The questions raised, including what had happened to Bane and why was Locke almost apologetic about him, furthered this desire to kill wave after wave of cops to find an answer. I hadn't realised in all the years of playing Payday how much I apparently cared for the character of Bane. This revelation drove on the gameplay, which, to be honest, just kind of seeped through the cracks. It had stopped being the focus, and yet that is where it actually shone. Objectives came with new characters like Mr. Pink, and potential answers for what had actually happened in day 1, especially with some understanding of the Reservoir Dogs film. Narrative-driven gameplay that we are seeing like this prompted a desire to stay alive unlike any other, especially in what was a pretty challenging heist, playing alone on Death Wish. It made me subconsciously tap into all my experience with the game, use the well-placed cover, play in a way my build excelled, and focus fully throughout. The objectives made sense and offered a distinct challenge. The atmosphere oozed the Reservoir Dogs film and was not a waste of the license whatsoever. And even the layout of the map catered for all playstyles and moved from a distinct holdout situation where you could easily be flanked, to forcing player movement and exploration of the map with more open enemy spawns and long sight lines. This is all just day 1 of a free heist. If Overkill always had this, maybe not in the form of a tie-in, as their vision for the game's story as Payday 2's lifespan drew to a close, I am beyond impressed. Whilst I'm not going to discuss all the story elements and ARG investigating, that's for a future video, Payday has, from this heist alone, been given much more direction than ever before. Moving on to the chronological day 1, but second in-game day, solidifies this further by suddenly pulling us back to having Bane's voice in our ears. We're given an odd sense of dread for what this heist is undoubtedly going to hold, but by immediately forcing you into the action while paying tribute to its source material of Reservoir Dogs, we're instead forced into completing a botched mission in a way reminiscent of my favourite launch heist, Watch Dogs. The ambush shouldn't come as a surprise, yet in knowing it's coming, it somehow is more suspenseful. It invokes Reservoir Dogs themes of betrayal and inside men, which should be all too familiar to Payday players. Whilst both days don't exactly follow the entire narrative of the film fully, and unfortunately, Mr. Pink is not Steve Buscemi, fans of Reservoir Dogs will certainly not be disappointed by it, with the heist layout being wonderful recreations of scenes from the film. I'd say most impressive was actually the warehouse from day 2, or the first day you play, having even the finer details mapped out and reconstructed. Outside of just having such a strong narrative for a Payday heist, objective randomization and gameplay is wonderful and varied. There are multiple ambushes that are actually seriously effective, and place the Payday gang at a real disadvantage, which feels incredible to fight your way out of. The cover is designed like a classic shootout and can be well utilised by both you and your crew, as well as by the police force, and while it is just a classic drill style job, the way in which you actually crack the vault is innovative and actually forces player movement into the open streets. This is what's so interesting about the way the heist has been crafted. Because of the difficult objectives, because all the odds are against you, for once it doesn't feel like the Payday gang is running the show. You do actually feel like you're at a disadvantage, and that creates more adrenaline-fueled gameplay, which is a ton of fun. Furthermore, there's a bunch of additional loot, and a zipline to actually assist in securing it. The second floor means you actually have to be constantly aware of your flanks, and there's potential to hold up there, but that's also incredibly intense as cops come at you through the roof, up elevator shafts, and the room itself is so cluttered and hectic you often don't really know what's going on in there. Finally though, once you've got through these challenging gameplay elements and the diamonds have been secured, you're actually forced to run a gauntlet through the beautifully presented California streets, offering one final challenge beyond the standard escape and giving you a better look at the city, which they have actually gone to lengths to try to recreate. This heist, if I'm honest, feels like a DLC. It's polished, it's well centered around its source material, offers challenge and replayability, and a story delivered uniquely that is far and above the most impressive in Payday history. The heist itself isn't sure either. Depending on how thorough you want to be, it lasts roughly as long as Houston Breakout. The clues it's given us to speculate over future updates, as well as the massive Payday 2 secret it teases, is priceless and is something I am certain to relish in the future. Finally, the music, while of course subject to your taste, kicks ass. A perfect homage to Reservoir Dogs and its 70s soundtrack. I couldn't have honestly asked for more. Now, if you've not given this heist a go, I apologise for spoiling the surprise of it all, as to a degree it is half the fun. But beyond that, this is still a heist that will remain one of my absolute favourites for a long time to come, and I implore you to try it out. Thanks a lot for watching this video, and I'll hopefully see you all in the next one.